Ah, I don't have the camera. Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you do enjoy my videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to join in on the discussion, you can join me on my live streams. I usually do them daily, or you can consider joining our Discord. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also, if you're interested in getting some ideas of the meals that our family enjoys, we have a Pinterest board that there's a link for that in the description below so you can see the whole food plant-based meals that we enjoy. Today is day 542 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of a extended water fasting and a whole food plant-based salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 200 pounds. I'm about 5 days away from the halfway mark here, and things have been going really good so far. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you are looking to get started, you know, what's keeping you from getting started? If you've fallen off the wagon, what's keeping you from getting back on? You know, what choices are you making, or what things are you doing to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? And normally this is where I switch scenes, but I already have switched. I didn't have the right scene on, so I don't have this transition period here. I hope everybody had a great evening last night. Yesterday was a good day overall. Last night, I believe we had mega veggie chili for dinner. In fact, I know that's what we had, mega veggie chili, one of our staple go-to meals. And it was good. I didn't eat a ton of it. I did have a bowl and a half, I guess. I probably would have had 2 bowls if we'd had more, but we didn't have much for leftovers yesterday with it. So that's one of the meals that our kids are slowly getting better at eating. We still have one of our kids that is gives a fit with that meal, even though she never tries it. So it really is tough to believe her when she says she doesn't like it, when you never actually see her try it. But anyways, that was the kind of the reason I say that is because I've shared this story a lot. But mega veggie chili is one of the meals that when I first started eating this way, I was not a huge fan of the meal. It wasn't that it was bad. It just was whatever, you know, like I just wasn't. And after about 3 weeks on this diet, we had the meal again. It was probably the 3rd time we had it since I started eating this way. And I can just remember being really happy with how it tasted and just being able to kind of enjoy the meal really for the first time. And that I always kind of say that it's a combination of a couple different things. One of them is that my taste buds adapted and I got used to eating this food, and I got used to not having, well, I was already used to not having sugar and stuff because I had fasted for quite a while before I started eating this way. But my taste buds just adapted and started to enjoy it. The other part of it is that when you switch to this diet, you are going to suck as a chef because it is completely different than anything that you've ever done or any way of preparing food and eating food that you've done before. And so I could see a lot of people switching to this diet and after a week or two just being like, this sucks, I can't do it. It's all, you know, the difficulty of it. But if you can stick to it, a big part of why I think that meal was more enjoyable is that we got better at preparing it. We modified it such that maybe there was something in the original recipe that we really didn't enjoy, or we didn't have the right combination of things together to make it as enjoyable as it was after 3 weeks. So you not only have to give yourself the time to adjust your taste buds to adjust, but you have to give yourself the time to learn how to cook this way. There's been many times that I had walked up to the pantry and looked at the options for food that we had and just kind of been like, I don't even know how how to cook quinoa or to have some other, I can't think of other random things, but um that you just don't know how to cook with these ingredients. So it takes time and practice to learn how to cook with these ingredients before you can become good at them. Uh, and the other thing, for me, when I look at the the pantry and I don't see something that I can make easily, then I'm going to reach for whatever's the easiest thing for me to eat. And we have this neat basket that we hang on our pantry door that has our oranges in one shelf, our apples in another, and our bananas on the top shelf. And I can always just grab one of those three things as a snack. And it's really nice to have that because if I didn't have that easy fruit to grab as a snack, then I might start looking at the kids kind of chips or the veggie straws that we have for them or things that aren't as good for me as I would like to be eating, but they're the easiest thing because really it's part of that motivational triad that I talk about from the book, The Pleasure Trap. And the first two things are to seek pleasure and avoid pain. But the third thing that they added into that kind of motivational triad of existence or the pleasure trap is the conserving of energy. We are naturally designed to do what's going to be the path of least resistance. And when you don't have easy go to things to eat, then you're going to go to whatever you have that is easy and go to. And if it's junk food, then that's what you're going to grab. And that's why a lot of people recommend purging your pantry of all of that junk food. We have a situation where we have 4 kids in our house and we keep that junk food around, I suppose, as bribery items to get them to do what we want. But uh but um we have that stuff is in our pantry. And if you can't remove that stuff from your environment, you have to figure out a way to either put it in another put your food somewhere else or kind of separate yourself from their food for a little while until you get on a groove and you get into being able to kind of use your momentum to keep you from grabbing that stuff that has a little bit of more processing that than you would normally grab. But um and so uh yeah, we had the mega veggie chili last night for dinner, and um that was good. And we still don't have peanut butter. Carrie might have picked up peanut butter today, but um kind of that same line of thinking I was talking about when I got hungry last night and I wanted to go for a snack. The things I would normally go for are the Ezekiel bread with the nut butter. The other kind of go-to for me is shredded wheat with raisins and soy milk. Uh, and we don't have any shredded wheat right now. So, um, I was hungry. I wanted to eat something. And so I had a banana, an apple, and probably a dozen oranges last night. Probably not really a dozen, but oranges are extremely expensive right now, at least where we live. For a bag, I think Carrie said it was $7 for a bag of oranges. And we probably ate half a bag of them yesterday. So, um, but it's nice to have those there because then I would have maybe tried to been hunting for something else that was close to being on my diet, if I didn't have that option, but thankfully I did. And so that was kind of the food I had last night. I did not eat breakfast this morning again. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I kind of like this getting myself to the point where I'm hungry and then eating um thing that I've been doing the last few days. I have to kind of figure out how um I want to do things, going forward or because right now I'm really focused on trying to get under 300 pounds. I'm hoping to have a good weigh in tomorrow. I don't know that I'm going to lose the 7 pounds that I really need to lose this week to make that kind of even a possible reality of getting under 300 pounds by May 5th. But um, I do know that the way I've been eating for the last 6 months, and even with sticking to the whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, is that I'm not losing weight extremely rapidly with it. I am losing weight, and I did have a month there where I was losing 2 pounds a week, but then I've had a month now where I've put on a pound or 4 pounds last week after Easter, and I really am trying to figure out the combination of foods or the things that I can eat, and uh, it's frustrating because when I was losing weight for the first 9 months there, I was having Ezekiel bread with nut butter. But now that, I probably wasn't, when I was having that Ezekiel bread with nut butter, I wasn't eating as much of it as I probably had been the last 6 months. There was days where I had that twice a day, and that wasn't something I did the first 9 months. Um, I'm also probably eating more food at dinner than I did the first 6 months, 9 months as well, where I'm going back for seconds more. But there's a lot of things that are factoring into it. But the the focus for me right now is the weight loss. And I need to kind of losing weight, making losing weight my priority in my diet is something that I need to, I don't know, uh like get my focus. But like my focus has been so much about just staying on the diet for the last few months, and I've been doing a great job staying on the diet, except for like a 4 hour period in the last uh really, I mean, almost this whole year. I mean, but definitely for the last 2 months. Um, I've stuck really good on a whole food plant-based diet, but I am eating, I'm not losing weight as, I kind of, I guess it's tough because starting this year, I was 332 pounds. And so I am 20 pounds lighter, which is about 5 pounds a month that I've been losing. And when I started the year, I really wanted to be losing 10 pounds a month. And so, like I said, I've been focusing on staying on diet, and I've been doing a good job staying on diet, but I haven't been losing the weight that I'd like to be losing. And I feel like if I do this kind of skipping breakfast, eating dinner, and not really even restricting myself in the evening as far as the volume of food that I'm eating, uh I think that that's gonna be what's best for me to lose weight. Uh, I think that it's not until now where I feel this hunger that my body is maybe even tapping into that fat reserve that I have on my body. I think that is, and I think another thing that I talked a little bit about, I'm all over the place today. Um, is calorie absorption. And hey, Anthony, I hope everything's going great for you today. Uh, and when you eat highly processed foods, I think that one of the reasons that you might get hungry or need to eat faster is because your body is able to absorb that food faster. And with the food that I'm eating now being a whole food, it is takes longer for my body to absorb the nutrients out of that food. So I don't know that I have to eat as regularly as somebody who is eating a higher processed diet is eating. So I don't know if that tracks what I'm saying, or if that makes sense, but the rice and the oats that we're eating, I think that uh, it takes longer for our body to process those things, and so we might hold on to them longer in our digestive system. I don't know a ton about the small intestine, large intestine, colon area where we kind of absorb our nutrients from, but it just seems to me that when we're eating a lot of rice and a lot of oats, that I it feels like my digestion is slowing down as much as you can kind of gauge that, or um, kind of notice what you kind of excrete, at the end of the day. But uh and so the foods we're eating now, I don't know that my body is taken, like that there's still that food in my digestive system. And I don't know that my body has finished the work that it was doing on that food, because it's harder for it to digest, or it's harder for it to get the nutrients from it. Where if I was eating a lot of white flour or white rice, the fibers removed and your body is able to absorb that faster. I mean, oil is an example of something that's probably super quickly absorbed into your blood system. Um, and uh, and then I think that it would end up causing you to be hungry sooner, or your body would need nutrients sooner because it's absorbed that energy so much faster. And because it's more available to the digestive system than the whole food diet that I'm eating. So, anyways, that's just a long way of me saying that I think I'm going to try doing this one meal a day. And it's really not uh I how do I explain? It's not necessarily that I'm not just getting calories at night. I'm actually, when I wake up in the morning, I still have a glass of cherry juice. I still had 2 oranges this morning. So I'm not going, or I'm not running into my day without any calories in my system. But those calories, I mean, there's not a ton of fiber in oranges. It's mostly water, and the juice, there's no fiber in the juice. And so those are going to be calories that, again, like oil, once they're in my system, my body should be able to absorb those calories really quickly, because there isn't a lot of fiber or stuff getting in the way. And uh, it seems to be getting me to this point of the day, and I'm not feeling lethargic or feeling, I don't feel any uh tired. Like, it's such a weird thing, because I used to, I remember like driving a car. You drive in a car and I get tired, and you'd start to kind of, get that sleepy nodding kind of thing. And the first thing I would go to is grabbing food to try to wake myself up, because it would change the, it would make me less drowsy. Who knows the exact, reasoning behind it, but um I don't have those highs and lows, I feel like, in my day based off of the food that I'm eating. I don't have it's just I enjoy food, but food is not tied to the enjoyment of my life, I guess, is what I'm working towards. And I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job of it so far. And so I'm gonna stick to eating kind of large portions at night and having just some fruit in the morning, just something simple. It would actually kind of not I suppose it's like what the raw till 4, only I'm not eating an abundance of fruit in the morning, I'm just having a couple oranges, and then at the end of the day, I'm eating cooked food, but, um, that's not what my diet really is, and it's not to say that I won't have oatmeal again, or, I could decide tomorrow morning, you know what, I'm gonna have oatmeal in the morning. I'm gonna eat when my body is really telling me it's hungry and not eat when I think I'm supposed to eat. I think we've been trained to eat on this 3 meal a day cycle, this breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Um, and I don't think that breakfast, lunch, and dinner existed for hundreds of thousands of years of our species evolution. We just ate when we were hungry or ate when there was food around us, and it just happened that food was scarce, and so we would always be hungry and we would eat the food that's around us when we could find it. And so I don't want to be tied down to this uh specific, eat 3 meals a day or eat 2 meals a day or eat 1 meal a day, but to eat when I feel hungry. And it's tough though, because this morning Carrie was like, "Hey, are you going to have breakfast?" And I was like, "No, I'm not going to have breakfast." And then I'm coming into the kitchen and I just get hit with the smell of it. And I'm like, "God, it smells so good. Maybe I will have breakfast." And then she was like, "Well, I didn't have enough oats to make you any." So, uh, and so she didn't make enough for 2 servings, which was fine. It worked great. It helped me in the end that I didn't have that kind of food accessible to me. Not that it would have been bad food to eat, uh, but it's again, my focus is got to be back towards the weight loss and not just staying on the diet. And so I'm going to just eat when I'm hungry, which seems to be about the time I get home every day, and I like I said, I ate a good amount of food last night. I had a bowl and a half of the mega veggie chili. I had oranges, I had a banana, I had an apple, I had cherry juice, and so I still ate. Um, and that food seems to get me to a 20-hour later period pretty well. I mean, with the exception of the fruit that I had this morning. Again, not a ton of calories, probably used up very quickly. But just getting my day started. Uh let's see. I've been still reading the book by Grant Cardone, Be Obsessed or Be Average. Really like the book. I'm actually on the way home today is going to be the last half hour of the book. I got less than a half hour left in the book. I Perfect timing for me to be reading this book with what I have going on in my business and personal life. And uh, I'm happy that I took the time to listen to it. If you, uh, it's something where if you are somebody who feels like you do obsess over things, that this book might help guide those obsessions, or might help you to channel those obsessions into a productive avenue. The uh It's tough though, because I mean he's very focused on making money and building wealth, and I don't know how much of that I want to be wealthy, I suppose. I want to be well off. I want to have, you know, a good amount of money. I don't know that I need to be buying a personal jet anytime soon, but and so uh it's tough to, you know, relate kind of with what his ultimate goals are. But part of the book also talks about is that your goals right now are, I mean, let's say a common weight loss goal is to lose 50 pounds. And if your goal, and I've done that, and this kind of relates to what I've done, I guess, but in the past, I've made a goal to lose 50 pounds, and I've done everything I needed to do to lose that 50 pounds. But then once I lost that 50 pounds, I didn't reestablish another goal, or even before I got to that 50 pounds lost, I should have realized, hey, this is obtainable for me. Now I need to reset my goal to maybe to losing 80 pounds or losing another 50 pounds, and kind of continuing to kind of push the bar further away from yourself as you get closer to your goals, so that you don't get stalled out and you don't kind of get stuck in a rut and then lose focus of things. And that kind of is what he talks about in the book with, well, I have business goals. I'd love to make a certain amount of money. And if I get to a point where 5 years from now, I've made that amount of money, then I need to make a bigger goal and work towards that bigger goal. And then if I get there, who knows, 25 years from now, I might be sitting on a camera saying, hey, I just bought my first private jet. I mean, but that's not my goal today, which is fine. My goals today are lofty goals. They're loftier goals than I would have set for myself before reading this book. But I feel like it has been, uh, it, it's a good practice. What he talks about is good in practice. And when I started this challenge, I kind of did that to an extent that I set this ridiculous goal of losing 300 pounds and getting under 220. And for me, I have never even entertained the idea of, as an adult, of getting under 250, and, uh, but I never even made a goal of getting to 250. Many of my goals were to get under 300, or to get down to like the weight that I wrestled at, which would have been 275 pounds, which I have not been 275 pounds since I was a senior in high school. So uh, those are not any goals I've ever set for myself. And this time, when I started this challenge, I set that as a goal. Seemed really unrealistic or unreasonable, but now I'm sitting here thinking that I'm going to get down to 220 pounds. Uh, I'm gonna do it in the 3 years, but after that point, I don't see, depending on where I'm at physically with my body mass, but to get down under 200 pounds, I don't think would be an impossibility. I mean, it would be difficult with like the excess skin I'll have, and I have a decent amount of muscle mass on my body, but at the same time, I know that that is shrinking, and I'm not worried about it. Like I don't, I've spent 20 years of my life being stronger than anybody around me just naturally, without going to the gym or working out much, because of the work I did when I was in high school. Carrie says, "Oh man, soccer and early dinner distracted me." Hi. Yeah, no problem. I know you were busy today. So, glad you stopped by and said hi. Um, and so, yeah, just having this goal of losing 300 pounds is one of those 10x kind of goals that I did before. And 10x, you're just catching this. He wrote another book, Grant Cardone, that was called the 10x rule, is where you take whatever goal you have and you multiply that by 10 times. And that should be what your goal is. If your goal is to have $10,000 in the bank, then you should 10x that and make your goal to have $100,000 in the bank, because that will make you, whether when you're hungry to get 10,000, you'll be hungry to get 100,000, but you don't limit yourself to that 10,000, like you push yourself to go to that bigger goal. And when you might come short of that, you might even come short of $10,000 in the 5-year plan or the 10-year plan that you make, but you you wouldn't have done any better if your goal was to do $10,000. If your goal was to make $10,000, you maybe I got to say this back the other way, but if your goal is to make $100,000 and you only earn 7,000, if your goal was to make 10,000, there's really no chance that you would have made that 10,000. You probably would have made the 7,000 or made less if you had a lesser goal. But and so but for me, what I have felt like for the last few months is that I have been kind of stalling with the diet, or focusing on getting the weight down, or allowing my focus to be distracted. I guess that would be better, because I have focused on my diet and staying compliant, and I've fallen off of that a few times here and there, but I haven't focused on the weight as much as maybe what as I was the first 9 months, because it was easy to focus on the weight the first 9 months because it was doing exactly what I wanted to do. Let's see. I am gonna say Dari, hi. I hope you're having a great day. Carrie says, love the hair. Yes, I did go get my hair cut today, so it is a new do. You're planning on starting a 40-day water fast. That's awesome. It is a big thing to do, and just be patient with yourself, and don't push yourself to the point where you feel like you're hurting yourself, but be confident that humans are designed to water fast. And if you have a lot of weight to lose, it's a lot easier. So depending on what your goals are, or what your starting weight is, I think that 40-day fasting is something that people can do. But you don't have, if you're just getting into fasting, be very patient. And for me, if you haven't started yet, one of the recommendations that I would give somebody who hasn't started yet is take a few days before you start your water fast and get rid of some of those things that are addictive, like caffeine is a big one. The sodas, get rid of those. The coffee, maybe stop that for a little bit, because you're going to go through with those withdrawals if you're eating. And then if you're not eating, you're going to go through those withdrawals, and you're going to have to deal with the fact that you're not eating. So if you can go through the withdrawals before you start your fast, it's going to make staying on the fast, especially those first 3 days, much easier. The other things that I would suggest limiting would be sugars, because those have some addictive properties. And I didn't realize it before, but dairy and milk also has some addictiveness to it, because that is what gets the babies to keep going after the milk. Is I don't know the chemical name of it now, but it has dairy has addictive properties to it. And so if you can get rid of the sugar, the caffeine, the dairy before you start the fast a couple days, then you won't have to suffer through yes, if the coffee will be hard, if coffee would be hard for you to give up without fasting, then imagine how tough it's going to be with fasting. So I know it's not everybody's favorite thing to give up, but if you can give it up, that'd be great. I had actually I talked a lot about coffee on yesterday's live stream, actually. And Anthony had asked for the video. I didn't find the specific video that I had seen, but I did find a video that did talk about how caffeine or coffee is similar to like ibuprofen, in that ibuprofen doesn't heal an injury. It just makes it so your body's pain receptors don't receive that you're injured. And the video that I found yesterday that I posted on the Discord talks about how your body releases a chemical that says, "Hey, we're tired." And your brain receives that chemical. Well, when you drink coffee, those receptors get blocked from being able to communicate with your brain to tell you you're tired. So you're still just as tired as you were. It's just your body isn't absorbing, or your brain isn't receiving those signals that you're tired. So um anyways, yeah, I understand coffee is really hard for people. And uh again, if you're gonna go into a fast, if you don't do it, that's fine. Just know that those headaches that you're getting those first few days, or those kind of lightheadedness, or some of those other things, might not be the fact that you're not eating. It's not the lack of food that's causing those problems. It's the lack of coffee that's causing those problems. And so, I mean, maybe, you know, uh, I did mostly only consume water for my 40-day fast. Yeah. And so, what I would recommend, and I haven't really recommended this before, but I recorded from pretty much day one of starting this to now what I've been doing. And so, the 40-day fast, I have a playlist created where I talk about things daily that went on while I was fasting. And so, for me to sit here and recount what happened a year and a half ago, I can do a pretty good job. But if you have the time, go back, watch my streams from those first 40 days to kind of see what I was saying at the time. But I was taking an electrolyte powder the first few weeks, and I very quickly, the first week or two, I didn't like one of the flavors. So I switched to another flavor. And then by about day 27 or day 28, I quit taking electrolyte powders at all. And just had water for like the last at least 10 days. I really just focused on having water. Um, yeah, uh, however, with a fast, I guess for me, um, however you do your fast is really up to you, because it's about the calorie restriction, and it's about, for me, I feel like fasting is a great tool for resetting the system. And whether you do a water fast, a juice fast, or even mono diet and just eat potatoes for a week or 40 days or whatever, you get your body to reset. You get rid of all the excesses. There's so many excess minerals in your body, and excess proteins, and excess everything in your bodies, because we keep feeding it, and our bodies do the best they can to clear out the garbage, but it can't get everything out, especially when it's dealing with processing new stuff. It kind of lets it build up. It's sort of like living in a house, or where you keep bringing in new stuff, and you don't take the time to stop bringing stuff in and pick up the clutter, and get rid of the garbage that's still laying around, get rid of the wrappers for the food that you have. And so, yeah, you want a whole reset. Yes. And that was my goal going in, was to just do a reset. I was going to educate myself on how I was going to eat afterwards. I had this vision of trying to eat a paleo diet, because I felt like I got to go back to our roots. I got to get as far away from the standard American diet, or the standard diet that people are eating today, and get back to the way our ancestors ate. And so I kind of had this vision of doing paleo. And then as I got researching things, if you haven't heard of the True North Clinic, I would look into what the doctors at the True North Clinic, it's a facility in California where they do medically supervised water fasts. And I found out about them, I think maybe 17 days into my water fast was when I first saw a video about them, because I was very concerned about refeeding, because I had done a long water fast a couple years ago. And when I refed, I did a couple days of eating not very much food, but then within a week I was back at the drive-through, and that was not good because I lost 60 pounds in 30 days, and then 30 days later I probably gained 65 pounds just because I didn't eat right afterwards. So I got looking into what to eat after or to refeed, and that's where I found out about the True North Clinic. The doctors there wrote a book called The Pleasure Trap, Dr. Doug Lisle and Alan Goldhamer. And when I got looking into what they do, because they do medically supervised water fasts, so they do something that everybody thinks is crazy anyways. And so I was like, well, what are they feeding their patients when they get done fasting? What are they suggesting for people? And that's when I found out that they recommend people eat a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. And I was like, that seems really weird, you know, this, I mean, but also I was like, this facility, they're a fasting facility. They're one of the only fasting facilities that I've ever even heard of, that's what they do. And then that they've been doing this for 20 or 30 years blew my mind. That I know about all these other doctors and all these other YouTube personalities that are doing fasting, but I don't know about this medical facility that's actually been doing it for decades. And I was like, they already got a target on their back because they're bringing people in and they're fasting them. And everybody thinks that if you fast, you're going to die. Nobody understands that humans are physiologically adapted to be able to fast. That's why we can accumulate all this fat on our bodies. And then they're recommending this ridiculous diet. They're recommending a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. I thought that it's unbelievable, ridiculous. And now 18 months later, I'm sitting here going, wow, this is the way I'm going to eat the rest of my life. So, yeah, you know, you're planning on doing a clean keto after the fast, and that's great. I mean, it's something where, I I've tried keto, and it's tough for me with keto because, um, it you fall off like the second you have something and it knocks you out of ketosis, and then you have to kind of reset everything, and it takes a few days to get back into ketosis. And um I uh I don't know, you know, I can't, you know, I don't know how that'll work for you. I hope that you find success with whatever you do, but I wouldn't rule out the idea of eating a plant-based diet. Uh, I never would have thought that I'd be suggesting a plant-based diet when I started this. If you watch my videos from my 40-day water fast, I don't even consider that until like 25 days in or something like that, when I finally kind of look into the book and look into it further. So, um, but whatever you do after the fast, just keep doing something towards working towards your ultimate goal. And that's what I did when I started this, was that I didn't plan to have everything figured out right away. And I still don't have everything figured out. I'm finding out what foods I can eat and what foods I can't, you know, what foods I shouldn't eat to still lose weight. But my goal starting this was that I was going to commit to making my diet and losing weight a priority for 3 years, not just doing a fast and getting to a goal weight. But once I get to my goal weight, I'm going to maintain that for the remainder of my life, hopefully. But, you know, in a perfect world, I'll get down to my goal weight early in 2023. And then from that time in early 2023 until November 1st or October 31st of 2023, I'll maintain that weight loss goal, because so many times in the past, I've set a goal, I've reached that goal, and then a week later, that goal, I'm 10 pounds heavier. And then a month later, I'm 20 pounds heavier. And so for me, it was a time commitment. It was to say, hey, I'm going to just deal with this for 3 years. I'm going to start this YouTube channel. I'm going to focus on this. It's going to be my goal to stick to losing weight for 3 years. It wasn't necessarily, I'm going to stick to a keto diet, or I'm going to stick to a vegan diet, or I'm going to stick to a calories in, calorie out kind of system. It was just that I was going to keep going until I figured it out, because so many times I would try one thing, it would fail, and then I wouldn't keep going. I would just go back to the crap diet I was eating. So, but yeah, with the water fast, it's about just reducing your calories or resetting your system as much as anything. I feel like if you can get, you know, even a weekend, that's a good amount of time to start doing a reset, or, to do things. But the other thing that I really kind of harp on is getting rid of salt from your diet, getting rid of the oil from your diet. Those would be the two things that I would definitely try to figure out how to remove from your diet, because we didn't evolve from a species that had salt on the table when they ate. Salt became part of our diet when we started preserving food. And then, the third part, the sugar, if you can eliminate the added sugars, that is also a big thing that will help. But again, what I was thinking going in, I wasn't thinking much different than you going in, doing a clean keto or doing a paleo. And where I'm at now is drastically different than that. But um, the ultimate goal is to lose the weight. So whatever you have to do to lose the weight, I'm there with you, and I wish you the best of luck on everything. Because I don't know how much weight you have to lose, but for me, I had a lot of weight to lose. So um let's see. It's really hard. I get you. Same here. Tried things before and then going back to the beginning. Yeah, it's just tough. But that's the history of everybody that's overweight. That we've been trying for years and years and failing, and so I'm hoping I have it figured out this time. I'm pretty certain that I will get to my goal weight of 220 pounds. I've never been on any other diet where I was so far from my goal, and I was extremely confident that it was uh, the right thing to do um, for me. So, yeah, no problem. Thanks for checking out the broadcast today. I am going to get out of here. Yeah, check the plant based. I don't look into the Pleasure Trap book, because even if you don't follow their diet, they do talk a lot about the psychology of humans and animals in general, and then also how to deal with people while you're dieting. Because even if you're not on a plant-based diet, when you go to a family function, you're gonna have that relative that's gonna try to push the peach cobbler onto you, or uh, the potato casserole that you shouldn't be eating. And so it talks a lot in that book about how to deal with those things too. So, um, great. Thanks for following me. I'm not great on Instagram. I really focus on the YouTube and doing these videos, but I hope as I get going, I get I grow a following, and we can all share our success stories, because that's what it's about getting to our goal, maintaining that goal, and living the best lives that we can live. So but I am going to get out of here today, guys. Thanks for checking out the broadcast. If you haven't subscribed already, get subscribed, click that bell icon. And if you haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's no reason to wait. Nobody ever gets to their goal and says, man, I wish I would have waited. Everybody who you have seen succeed, if you ask them what their regret is, almost all of the time, they will, every time, 60% of the time, they will tell you that they wish they would have started sooner. And I'm the same way. I wish I would have started the day I got on a scale and saw that I was over 500 pounds, because I'd be further along than I am. I'd be 6 months further than I am now. I wish I would have started 2 weeks earlier when I decided to create this YouTube channel. I wish I would have just started instead of stalling and working on getting everything set up. So, you said you have 112 pounds to lose. That's great that you're working towards getting that off, because it's amazing the difference that I feel in the 200 pounds that I've lost, and I can't even fathom the difference between what I weigh now and the 90 pounds or the 95 pounds I have to lose yet. Like, that's another third of my body weight off, like I'll be dragging around a third of a less of a person, which is just wild. Considering I'm already down 200 pounds, and I can just, my mobility, my everything. And I didn't even talk about my non-scale victory today. I started doing my closing. My non-scale victory was I got my hair cut today, and I wasn't embarrassed to sit in the chair. I didn't feel bad about the stylist having to spin me around on the chair to get different angles on my hair. When I was 500 pounds, I was worried I was going to break their chair. They have this little foot thing where they got to pump you up. I felt like they were having to like jump from the rafters in order to get it to pump me up a quarter of an inch. And so just going and getting my hair cut is just a much more pleasurable experience than it was 200 pounds ago. And again, 100 pounds from now, it's going to be even better. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how you do, and keep me updated, because it's, you might not reach your goal of 40 days. You might, I would go in being confident though that you can do it, just because that there, you're not going to be the first person that has done it. I've done it. You can search YouTube. You can find probably an example of 100 people on YouTube that have fasted for 40 days. Um, and so it's not a path that you're going down for the first time, or you're not the first person to go down that path. So be confident that it's possible, but don't put yourself in harm's way. Don't work out. Really, don't do. I mean, if I say this all the time when I talk about fasting, but I was very sedentary when I started my diet, and when I fasted, I didn't change that sedentary lifestyle. I was already not doing a lot of walking. I was 500 pounds. And so it was easy for me to kind of keep that same lifestyle. But don't start water fasting and then say, I'm going to go ride a bike, or I'm going to start running, or I'm going to hit the gym every day, because it will wipe you out. Your body needs all of the help it can get. And so just focus on fasting. Don't focus on working out or things like that. But yeah, just go in, do what you can, and always have that thing, whatever you're going to refeed with, have something available so that you have a good choice to make, because it's about what choices we have around us. If you have candy bars around you, you're going to eat candy bars. So get rid of the candy bars. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how you do. And then the only thing I haven't said yet is don't fall for the myths of moderation, the myth of moderate change, the idea that you can slowly change your diet from eating this crappy standard American diet to this ultra healthy diet, but do it slowly. So I'm going to start eating a little bit of salad. I'm going to cut out the excess of this here. So many times people start that way and they cut a few things out, and then a week later they're off their diet, and they blame the diet that they never actually got on 100% for being impossible or being unsustainable, but they never truly gave it a shot because they were going to change slowly. The other is the myth of moderate consumption, the idea that a little bit of something unhealthy is okay. I mean, where else is that okay in your life? Like a little bit of theft is okay. A little bit of stealing from a grocery store is okay. A little bit of drugs is okay. It's not. Why is that okay with your diet? Why is it okay to have a little bit of something bad and it still be okay? And then also the idea that you can eat less than you're eating now. If eating in moderation, if eating half portions was the solution, I'll just eat less of this food because I want to have this bowl of mac and cheese, but I don't want to have a full bowl of mac and cheese. If that was doable, if eating half portions and saving the other half for leftovers was the solution, if it worked, everybody would be thin. We all have done it. I've tried it. I've tried to portion control. Our bodies fight us too hard. You have to focus on the calorie density of the food. Our bodies are designed, it's been studied that our bodies are designed to eat a volume of food. You eat between 3 to 5 pounds of food, no matter who you are. That's what your body wants, to have that volume of food. You have to change the density of that 3 to 5 pounds of food. And so that is a big part of this, is calorie density. So, La and Ed La Educata. Sorry, I just joined. Looking good. Keep it up. Looking forward to all your updates. Thanks for checking in. I am getting out of here now, though. Unfortunately, I've gone 55 minutes, longest stream ever. No, I usually do about a half hour. Just kind of update what's going on. But I love talking to people and interacting with people. So I have never been accused of not talking a lot. So the educated one, sure. I've done a lot of that. See, you guys just keep getting me talking. Yes. Another piece of advice is keep educating yourself. Look in the description below. I have listened. I don't read a lot, but I've listened to all of those books in the past 18 months. That is something that I highly recommend, is educating yourself throughout the entire process. Don't stop learning, because once you stop learning, you start to stall out. And so, yes, keep yourself educated. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thanks everybody for stopping in. I will see you tomorrow for Weigh-In Wednesday. So